Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to set up a logo file to be imported into Adobe After Effects so that way we can later on animate it. So what we're going to start off with first is you need to plan out your design. You need to plan out the animation that you want to do. Today I'm going to be using this logo I made for Film Coast, and what we have to do is really analyze how we want the logo to move, how we want it to interact. I've already planned it out, so I know that what I want to do is I want the wave to transition along the path of the wave. So I want this whole stroke of the wave to transition along the path, and then this one to transition a little bit after it. Next, I'm going to want the tree to kind of appear from behind the wave and to have all the leaves kind of fall down or kind of fall into place while it's being animated in. And then third, I'm going to want each of the letters to independently transition in one by one. So you guys will see what I'm talking about and when I'm actually animating it, but for now we're just going to get the logo file ready, or the Illustrator file ready. So what we're going to do is go to File, New, and you have to make the resolution of your document the same as the output of your video. So if you're shooting at 4K resolution but you're outputting it, or you're downgrading the resolution, you're exporting it at 1920 by 1080, this needs to be 1920 by 1080. It needs to be the same resolution as the video. If you're shooting in 4K, then make the resolution 4K, and if you're exporting it, the same thing. But just make sure it's at the same resolution as the video. So what I'm going to do first is add a background, because I want an off black background, and then I'm going to copy and paste the logo into this file. Make it whatever colors you like, and I know I want mine's right in the center of the video, in the center of the artboard. After that, we need to start grouping and ungrouping all of the separate paths and layers, so that way they're each on their own layer. But first, as you see here, the way that Illustrator works, you have layers and then you have contents within the layers. So for right now, we're going to want each one to be its own content inside the layer, and then I'll show you guys how to use release to layer sequence after. So what we're going to do is ungroup ungroup everything so everything's its own independent layer or content. And then for the text, I'm going to ungroup and release compound path as well. Perfect. So now that I have everything on its own independent layer or content or path, I'm going to start grouping them up together. You have to group up the paths that are going to be animated together. So like I said, I'm going to want this to transition completely along the wave, but as you see, these are pretty much 5 or 6 different paths together. So I'm just going to select each one and unite it. Now that path is all together on one path. So I'm going to have this animate in, and then this animate a little bit after, so these two are ready to go. Now for the tree, I'm going to want the tree to animate pretty much behind this and to kind of warp and slowly come out while the leaves are up and being dropped down. A good thing about the tree is that since these 3 leaves are identical and symmetrical to these 3 leaves, I can delete one pair of the 3 and then just duplicate and flip the animation just to save a little bit of the work. But since each leaf is going to be animated independently, they still need to stay as their own layer. So just in case, I'm gonna fix those little paths and make sure they're all just one shape, but make sure that the leaves stay. I'm making sure that the leaves stay independent. The trunk is fine also, but I noticed here there's a little bit of space, so I'm just gonna bring down the whole tree. There you go. And then after, with all the text in their own layer, I just have to make sure they're all independent. And now we have all the layers ready to go to be imported. The next step we're going to do is click the layer, click here, click the little 3 bars, and then release to layer sequence. What that does is make every single path or compound path, group, whatever you want to call it, into its own actual layer. So I'm going to go in and drag all the layers out of the original layer, and from here I'm going to start renaming them. So I'm going to pretty much start from top to bottom. You can click this little circle next to the layer so that way it highlights which one it is, so you know what you're looking for. So I'm just going to go and rename all these layers. I always do that just because when you import it into After Effects, it's going to be way easier to identify them and if you have them named. So I'm just going to take some time to do that. So after you have all of your layers separated, sequenced, they're all independently on their own layer, and you've named them, after that we're just going to save the file. And then we're going to open After Effects. So after you've saved your file and opened Adobe After Effects, we're going to go to After Effects and put New Project, New Composition, and then make sure that the resolution and also now the frame rate is the same as what you guys want, as the video output that you want. So it could be 60 frames per second, 120, 30, whatever it may be. Today I'm going to be doing mines in 24 frames per second, or the 23976. After, we're going to go to File, Import, File, and then locate our Film Coast Animation Artboard. And then down here, it's very important we go to Import As, and then Composition, Retain Layer Sizes. This is going to allow everything to be the same size in proportion to the resolution. Once it's imported, you're going to see here in the project panel that it's going to have a composition of it. So you're just going to want to double click that, and you can either animate it straight on here on this composition, or what I like to do is select all the layers and copy and paste it into the actual composition I want to work on. So I'm just going to rename this composition to Logo Animation, and just like that I'm ready to go. Now I can start actually clicking each layer individually, animating what I want, using the effects, using the position and all the tools in After Effects. So with that, you guys know how to create a logo file, organize the layers, and import into After Effects to start animating your logo. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Follow me on all those same platforms as well, and hope you guys enjoy part 2 that's coming out soon, where I actually animate the logo.